This call is being recorded.
Well, hello everybody on this very interesting time in our history, very interesting period in our history, just before Christmas, and the promise of lots of things coming down in the next few days. There's so many things to talk about, we just don't know where to start really. But I just want to say hello to Bill and Will and Phil and everybody out there. And so, hi guys, how you going?
Hi, Callista.
Hello, and Merry
Yay.
Christmas to all.
Yay, Merry Christmas, ye all. Yeah. Hi there.
So,
doing well, considering.
Good. So I've been looking at everything and trying to make sense of what's going on, and a lot of the stuff that's going down is legal and constitutional, which I don't really understand. But it seems to me as though the 6th of January is a really important date to be looking at, because I noticed that President Trump has sent out an invitation to everyone to come to Washington, D.C. on the 6th of January. Apparently it's going to be a wild time. I know that the 6th of January is the day that Vice President Pence is counting the votes. And he's made it very clear that they're only going to be counting legal votes, and they're going to toss out all the illegal votes. So that's going to be very interesting. I noticed that the people of Arizona have spoken and have put pressure on their officials to comply with what the president wants to do. Guys, help me out here. What's going on? Bill,
Well,
what do you reckon?
I think we may all get a big surprise of some sort. Now, Cosmic Awareness is saying, as of today, I guess, that things are going to start popping on Christmas Eve, and then the next few days are going to be a pivotal time. And that may be just a big surprise, but we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I did hear
Yeah.
somewhere on around the traps that a person of importance and in the public eye and all that sort of thing is going to be arrested on Christmas Eve in Washington, D.C. A man, apparently. Actually, I think it was Janine I was listening to. She did the cards on that. And the cards confirmed it. So it could be very interesting tomorrow to see what happens in D.C. I noticed that the President and First Lady have gone to Mar-a-Lago for a couple of days. And of course, Trump, I think, has instructed all his White House staff to go home or whatever. And the public servants are given a holiday. So they're obviously clearing DC for a reason on Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
anyway, what do you think?
That's never happened. That's never happened before, that the president has made an extra holiday of the 24th, Christmas Eve. And that, of course, is fueled speculation immediately. Like, what the hell's that all about? Is there some plan of action for that night? What is it about, as I just said? Any thoughts, you guys? Bill, Phil, Callista? Any thoughts on that? That maybe he's planning some kind of action, maybe an arrest. This is certainly, it was insinuated by Cosmic Awareness, certainly, and others too, of course.
Well, wouldn't it just throw a big wrench into the works if it was Joe Biden that got arrested?
If he's not arrested already.
That's right. But it's funny because I thought it too, Bill, just as you said. What if this is Joe Biden that they're going to arrest? Whoa, that would be throwing a spanner into the Democrats' plan to have him as president.
Phil, what do you reckon?
Well, it's a great time to speculate, huh? Because it doesn't... Oh, boy. Sorry about that.
Right.
Sorry. Just a wonderful, wonderful time with technology today. This is the second time I got booted off our conference, and now the phone's ringing. Okay,
Mm.
what do I think? Well, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. I think we all agree on, and I think part of the confusion all around is done on purpose, so it keeps everybody that is deep state off guard. I also have heard that there's going to be a big arrest, and Q has said so in the past, an arrest that would shock the world. And I don't think it will be Biden. I think he'll eventually be arrested, but it's just my opinion. I think it will be someone else that will be equally shocking. And I think it is going to be soon. I don't know if it will be as soon as tomorrow night. It's a hell of a thing to announce on Christmas Eve. A huge arrest. But I do think it's going to be soon. Uh, on the other hand, there may be some other kind of announcement tomorrow on Christmas Eve that the world or the nation would like that may come at the hands of the president. And this is what I've been hearing would happen before Christmas. And tomorrow's the last day before Christmas, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't think it'll be Biden. I think it might be someone like maybe Obama or
That's what I reckon too.
yeah, it would have to shock the world. That certainly. I mean, arresting Biden's like arresting a baby. He doesn't even know he'd be under arrest. But there has been a lot of people talking over the past couple of years that former President Obama has been running a shadow presidency from his residence ever since he became, ever since he left office. If that's the case, he's the one who's been throwing a spanner in the works for the last 4 years for the president. And I think he would be very deserving of a prison sentence or an arrest.
Isn't that called insurrection?
Or treason. It depends on how you legally define these things. And I think a lot of that is going to be up to jurisdiction as to whether he gets tried or anyone gets tried as a civilian or as an enemy combatant in military jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm. Which puts him under a military tribunal, does it not?
That's my understanding.
So that opens up a whole tin of worms, because remember, the 24th of December, what happened on the 24th of December? The crossing of the Delaware.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's that anniversary.
Actually, it was the night of the 25th.
Was it the night?
Was it?
Okay.
And the actual battle was early in the morning, about 8 a.m. on the 26th.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was the 24th for some reason.
Well, they always talk about the Christmas battle, but it was the Christmas crossing the Delaware, and the following Battle of Trenton didn't start until the next morning.
Right.
But it was still a complete surprise to the Hussars, wasn't it? The Hussars, or whatever they called them, the German troops.
The Hussars.
Hussars, yeah.
I think that's what they're called.
Something
Hessians.
like that, I think you're correct.
Oh,
Hessians,
yeah, Hessians. Yeah.
Hessians from Hesse, Germany.
Right.
Yeah, that's like a state in Germany is Hessen, the Hessen Deutsch. Yeah. Okay, we know it was on the 26th. Thank you, our military expert, Bill. That gives us more information. But it is, I guess, significant that right now, it's also Christmas. It's also, it's been for several weeks now, a kind of lost time, the dark days, the lost days. And it feels like something has to break out. Something has to explode here just to relieve the pressure that's being felt and the anxiety that lots of people are holding, you know? Anxiety, stress, tension, all of that.
Yeah,
so I
that's
do think
right.
something's ready to happen. Sorry, Chris, you go on.
No, I'm agreeing with what you're saying, and it ties in with something that I found I've joined another platform called Pilled. It's pilled.net. That's PILLED.net. And I think this was set up by Red Pill 78 and Methods. And it's a really nice platform. You can go and have a look. You don't have to join. But I've been putting a bit of stuff up there as well as on Parler. And I found this tweet from Ron, who's Code Monkey Z. And Ron is a real mine of information because he's really in with the white hats and helping them understand a lot of things. But this came up the other day, and he said, ever played a MOBA? MOBA? And I looked at that and I thought he spelt Moab wrong. But no, it's not Moab. It's MOBA, MOBA. And that means multiplayer online battle arena. And that's a term that's used in these video games when you're playing video games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who's a gamer out there will understand what it's all about far better than I can. But I had a look on Wikipedia about MOBA to find out what they were saying. And it says that it's a strategy video game in which two teams of players compete against each other on a predefined battlefield. And each player controls a character with a set of unique abilities that improve over the course of the game and contribute to the team's overall strategy. And the ultimate objective is for each team to destroy their opponent's main structure located at the opposite corner of the battlefield. But there are other variations and conditions and all that sort of thing. And there are various players that take on various roles. And according to Code Monkey, Trump is in the role of carry for this election. So he's carrying. And with the help of his support, he powers up and all the pieces fall together at the last moment. And to me, that's exactly what's happening. And according to Code Monkey, January the 6th will be the crescendo, where he unleashes a whole world's worth of fury. So it's like and I've noticed just this week, there's a whole lot of people have been coming out and lifting the curtain on what's really been happening in the White House. You've got Patrick Byrne, you've got, and I was listening to Seb Gorka this morning. He was lifting the lid on what he knew. And it's like all these people have suddenly got the courage to open up and just tell it like it really has been. And then you've got the whole situation with Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani going to the White House and getting shouted and screamed at, and the president was shouted and screamed at by that guy, what's his name, Cipollini or something his name is. He was supposed to be the president's loyal lawyer. Well, he's not. And even Mark Meadows. Mark Meadows refuses to give Sidney Powell a pass into the White House. And so there's a lot of stuff going on there. And Trump has drawn it out and drawn it out and drawn it out so that all these moles are being exposed by their actions or inaction. Because as General Flynn said, he was there with Sidney Powell in the White House last Friday, and he said to these guys in there, these so-called loyal White House staff, well, you do know that President Trump, you do agree that President Trump won the election, don't you? And you know what they said? No. They said nothing. They shuffled around and looked at their feet. Now that tells you everything. These guys are being promised millions and millions of dollars to make Trump concede, and he's not going to.
No. Because he knows who these people really are anyway. I think he already knows. I don't think he's been ignorant of their identities or who they're really serving. But he's playing them for some reason.
Yeah, that's right.
For some reason.
And according to Patrick Byrne, I've listened to a couple of interviews that he's had. One was with Dave Jander, that's very good, and the other one with Quite Frankly and Tracy Beans. That was a podcast.
Tracy Beans, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Patrick Byrne said that all this was going on, screaming, shouting. Apparently Cipollini, or whatever his name is, Cipollino, stormed out of the Oval Office and slammed the door. And Trump turned to Patrick Byrne and General Flynn, who were standing shoulder to shoulder against these guys that were shrieking and yelling. And Trump turned to them and said, "Now you can see what I've been putting up with." It's disgusting. It's totally disgusting.
Yeah, because there's a protocol, like Byrne said, when you're in the office, when you're conversing with the president. And it seemed like all of those conventions, those niceties, those formalities of respect are just thrown out the window. And I'm very surprised that over the last 4 years, it seems as though Trump repeatedly put people into positions that he later had to get rid of. And I'm wondering to this day whether he just didn't know that every single person that he was vetting was all swamp, or if he hired him on purpose to keep a close eye. If that's the case, he's got more cojones than anyone I've ever dealt with, because he's surrounded himself with administration members that are against him. He's allowed himself, really planned it since 2018, to lose an election on purpose just so he could expose it later. And at the last moment, when he needs their help the most, he's exposing all these people, as you said, by their actions and inactions. And I'm just very, very surprised. But that is why I think something is going to break here really, really soon. And I think before the 20th, maybe even before the 6th. And I know there's a lot of talk about Pence's role in all of this. I'm actually clueless, because there's more plot twists in this movie. I almost can't even guess what the next plot twist will be, because the good guys turn out to be the bad guys, the bad guys turn out to be the good guys, and the neutral non-action players turn out to, yeah.
And of course, there's the bad guys who turn out to be the bad guys. They're so obvious. That's part of it all. They're so damn obvious. But it intrigues me and interests me about these lawyers. Didn't you say, Callista, or maybe Phil, you said it, about one of them has proven to be a leaker of information right from the inner sanctum?
Yeah, he's been leaked. This is that Cipollino, or whatever his name is. I'm sorry, I can't get his. Oh, here we are. Cipolloni.
Cipolloni, that's right. Cipolloni.
Yeah, as Ron Codemonkey said this the other day too. Are Meadows and Cipolloni blocking justice? Are they stopping POTUS communication with Sidney Powell? Are they scared of an EO to seize voting machines? Will Donald Trump act as a commander-in-chief and do what all the great leaders like Churchill and Washington have done? And I think, yes, that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a great leader that, as you say, Phil, he's got huge cojones, and he is going to break the whole damn system. And he has surrounded himself by snakes. It's like he's stepped into the snake pit deliberately.
Yeah, but what if he always knew? Sorry, go on, Callista.
No, that's okay. Go ahead. I just am aware that Bill hasn't had a chance to say anything about this yet.
Yeah, I'll give it over to Bill in a moment. I was just saying, but wouldn't it be the most intriguing of plays if you knew you were standing in a pit of vipers, and you knew that they could hurt you to some degree, but ultimately, by standing in that pit of vipers, that will be their destruction in the end, or that it will play out for the best, because they haven't figured you out. They thought he is at their mercy, because there's all these ones known and unknown that can take him down. And in the end, really, they have fooled themselves, and he has put it past them. I mean, this is the chess player who can play 5-dimensional chess, or whatever it's called when you play 5 games in a row, or whatever it's called. This is a man who plays the long game, and knows exactly where he is every move of the way, even if most people don't think that so. What do you think, Bill? Bill with the B.
Well, I think Cosmic Awareness has said some very pertinent things about that recently, both in the public message and in the member message. But let me give a couple short quotes here from the public message. Cosmic Awareness said, as the new age is being born right now, at this time, over this period that is known as Christmas. And remember, as the events that unfold over the next few days occur, that this is certainly that which you have been awaiting. And then even more strongly in the member message. So I'm thinking that things are going to start popping here really, really, really quick. And it doesn't matter how we define what we think they might be, we're going to see it here very soon.
Yeah, the whole world will see it. The world is
Mhm.
watching, and the world will see.
And
And I was
I've been waiting
Sorry.
a year for this, and before that I was waiting 33 years for this, so I'm ready for it.
Yeah, absolutely, brother.
Amen. I hold to that.
I was talking to a friend earlier on today who lives in New Mexico, and oh dear, it's completely gone out of my head now. Having a senior moment. Sorry.
Someone that lives in New Mexico.
We're talking about this, can't think what it was. Sorry about that, guys. Moving on.
Okay, well, about that theme of it's right now, I think this is the big challenge for all of us who have been involved for any length of time in this whole movement. And I'm not just talking about the political movement and all that. We've been certainly observing for the last 4 years the intricacies of the whole comedy of errors that has been taking place against Trump. But also as a spiritual warrior, as one who has been observing for 40 plus years myself, the events and circumstances, it's really kind of come to a point where we have been looking forward to this for so long, so that for Cosmic Awareness to say, this is the time you have been waiting for. For some of us, this is like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now let it happen, make it so. And that's why I'm personally kind of sitting here with my breath held, it's like, what's going to happen? Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Yes, it will happen, because it must happen. This has to happen. This is the time for it. I can only say that's how I'm feeling it. But do any of you guys have something similar? It's like a bated anticipation of events yet to happen, not knowing if they will happen, but certainly holding it in our hearts they will happen. At least that's what I'm trying to do, hold it in my heart, even though it challenges me in some ways.
Yeah, I've caught my train of thought. I was talking to my friend in New Mexico, and we were talking about this whole situation of this, waiting, and everyone's sort of like on the edge of their seat and what's going to happen. And I realized, it's true that everybody in the world is watching what happens in America, because whatever happens in America will then set the pattern for everything around the world. Well, certainly in the free world, what we call the free world. It's probably not that free. And I'm getting the feeling that all the leaders in all the countries on the world are just sitting on the fence, waiting to see which way the wind will blow before they start doing things to improve the lot of their people, etc. So it really is a really important time, and this is why we're feeling so you feel all wound up like a 2-bob watch, don't you? Really, it's really quite tense.
Very much. And many people are feeling physical effects of body ailments and pains and aches and things that are happening. It's like, what the hell is this?
What do you reckon,
Stomach
Phil?
issues.
Yeah, sorry.
I I would agree. There's a lot of people around me who have the unexplainable aches and pains and uncharacteristic crying and depression, angst
Yeah,
for unknown
yeah.
reasons, you know? And these aren't necessarily people that care about the topics that we talk about on this chat, but they do tend to be energetically sensitive people. And so they've learned over their lives to trust the the unexplainable within themselves, the intuition, uh, and there a lot of them are feeling this really heaviness, even though this grand conjunction and this December 21st energy is ultimately supposed to be for the good. I don't know anybody who has gone through it that I know to be energetically sensitive who's coming through it just jumping for joy. They're down for the count and very up and down emotionally. Um, on the other hand, it may be a necessary energetic clearing within the human, because we are transmuters, that a lot of those types of people are transmuting for the collective, for everybody's benefit. And I know that's a really deep and heavy duty subject, but right now, the entire planet and the planet itself, meaning the people on the planet, and the planet itself is trying to rectify and resolve all of this pent up angst and unknowingness so that we can birth ourselves into this new way of being. And it's always darkest before dawn, and sometimes the scariest part of it all is not knowing what happens next when you're at your deepest and most low. So I see these little glimpses of light at the end of the tunnel, and as awareness has said so many times, hold that you will manifest what you wish to desire. And I know that certain people who claim to be in a place of knowing as to how all this plays out, they're extremely confident right now. And I think they might be because they actually know the game plan of what's going on. But for the rest of us who have to talk in, to their friends and rumors, they're left within themselves trying to adjust, knowing what to feel is true or what to believe. So it's a very jumbled time right now. But I think by the time February comes around, when these conjunction energies are actually passed, things might stabilize a little bit. And of course, that's after the inauguration.
Is it?
I don't think that we need to wait until the inauguration. I'm looking out and I'm seeing the water recede from the beach before the tidal wave comes in, which I think will be tomorrow.
So you feel strongly something will be announced, because isn't Trump supposed to do some kind of message to the nation thing or something of that nature?
I don't know of
Oh, yeah.
anything scheduled, but I do know that he made Christmas Eve a federal holiday, and he didn't do that without reason.
Well, as we were talking about earlier, there's a reason for it, but what will that reason be? So that's, you
I
were going to
think
say
that,
something, Callista.
yeah, I think that you're referring to that information we got through the remote viewer where I can't remember the guy's name, but he does remote viewing, and he'd drawn a picture of President Trump sitting in the Oval Office with a certain symbolic artifact behind him behind his right shoulder, and it was all to do with he was going to address the nation and explain a few things that were going to shock quite a few people. I know that's probably not really. Oh, here we go. I found the actual picture. It was remote viewer Dick Allgires, Allgires.
He is good.
Yeah, apparently he's very well respected, and he sees Trump giving a deadly serious nationwide address from the Oval Office. Now, this was put out on the 21st of December, and so He's got various things written around. He's got a picture, you know, he's drawn this picture of President Trump sitting in there in the office, and he's written all these little comments. In the near future, prime time, Oval Office, Trump address this defining moment of the presidency, very serious national crisis. He uses the term evildoers, Constitution at stake. Will all networks take this, or will they black it out? Trump is also saying the institutions have failed us. Oath to the Constitution. Arrests, resignations, firings, foreign attack. Evidence is shocking. There's public evidence. This demands an executive order. Trump is surrounded by guards, the military, and something about the Space Force. Something there too. It's quite an intriguing little sketch and everything. So I think that it's quite feasible that Trump will have to come out one day soon and say, yes, the institutions have failed us. The oaths to the Constitution have just gone out of the window, and it's opened us to a foreign attack from China, because that's what it's done. These Chinese, the Chinese influence is infiltrated right through the whole fabric of the American government, right down to the local
and
level.
Industry. Don't forget industry and academics.
Especially the academics,
infiltrated,
all the universities and schools and things like that. Yeah. Anyway,
Callista, I know that did not come from Farsight. How can that be found?
I found it. Now, where did I find it? I think I found it. It might have been. I think it was put on our forum, our private Rainbow Phoenix forum, by one of our members, and I don't know where they got it from. I just have run with it because I did find. Oh, I know where I found it. It was. Yes, it was an alternative channel. Just talk among yourselves for a minute because I can find it. It's very important that I. Hang on, I've got it. Hang on.
Got it?
Yes, it's. Oh, it was Jeff Rentz. It was on Jeff Rentz.
From the Rentz report from Jeff Rentz?
Alt. It's called Alt News. It was put on Rents.com. So that's that's where that came from. I don't usually go to Rents at all, but that's where it came from. And it came from Alt News. ALTNEWS. I don't know which one. There's a number of them on there, but I think it's Jeff Rentz's website. Yep, that's what he calls it now. Instead of Jeff Rentz, it's called Alt News at Rents.com.
Okay, because that used to be the old title for it way back when. It's been around for a while, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But so has Simon Parks, and I recently listened to a couple of things he put out. One on the 18th, and that was followed up on the 19th, and then there was one for the 21st. And he was saying that his sources, he has certain military intelligence sources, I think, or someone gave him all this information on the 18th and said, we're giving it to you, but you can't let it out. And why bother giving it to him? Not supposed to distribute it. But anyway, there's been all these big leaks from the inner sanctum, and it could well be the lawyer we were talking about a few minutes ago, as to what certain plans were and how Trump is planning to announce something on the Christmas Eve, or I think it was Christmas Eve. And so that's another person to look up right now for whatever information Simon Park has in terms of getting it from higher sources. It's intriguing, that's for sure.
Yeah,
And I
he
got
has
that's
that
been,
right.
just going to
he has
YouTube.
been posting almost daily, but I didn't check it today.
No, I haven't checked it for a couple of days either, but yeah, he seems to be getting some really good intel coming through, which ties in with a lot of other things that are going on too. I'm just wondering, Phil, if you've got anything that you want to share at all, that you can share, that might be different.
And we are talking
regarding
Regarding
Go ahead.
military intel?
Yeah.
Well, you guys know I am in contact with somebody, and there are things that military intel would like to tell the people, and they just can't. But they want to, because they're human beings. But when they have an oath, and when they have made certain commitments, they won't break it, even though they're dealing with people like us who connect dots and say, well, if this dot and that dot connect, well, then this. So you go to someone who's in a position to know, and they can't tell you. They want to, but they can't. And so what I'm often dealing with is situations where, I mean, we're civilians. We don't know what's actually going on, but there's enough that's leaked out for people to start connecting and making educated speculation like we do here on this show. But if you go to someone who's in a position to verify it, they want to verify it, but they can't. But there are ways they can verify without opening their mouth.
Okay. Without opening their mouth, and Phil's gone. Or am I gone? You guys
No,
there?
you're there, but Phil looks like
I'm
he's
there.
gone.
And Callista, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I was muted.
Oh, there.
But yeah, I'm here. But obviously, Phil's having a lot of trouble with his connection tonight. He's having a bad day.
Oh.
Poor Phil.
Right.
But
not
yeah,
laughing
I
at
think
it.
it's
We're
true
laughing
that
with him.
Sorry?
We're not laughing at Phil. We're laughing with him.
Exactly. But going on, on from where Phil was, he's trying to join the call again now. It's true that I think, if we're looking around and looking at all the different bits of information that have been coming out, and there's been a lot coming out this week, as I said earlier, from various people, really spilling the beans on what's been going on in the White House. You can sort of join the dots, and when you understand about this this MOBA situation and bringing everything together, you can see how Trump's been orchestrating, or all these different seemingly isolated pockets of things that have been happening all around everywhere, and now it's all coming. He's gathering them all together, and he's about to make the big announcements. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And Phil's back. Hi, Phil.
Hi, you guys. Sorry. Very interesting. I would go dead right at that point, huh?
You were just opening your mouth too, Phil.
Yeah, par for the course. I told you guys what was going on before we started the chat. Oh boy. Now, something about military intel. Well, of course, I'm just a civilian, so I don't really know. And I've been listening to Simon Parks lately, but I probably have not listened to his most recent brief update, although I may have. I think the last one was 5 minutes long.
That was that was on the 21st. Yeah, the 21st was the last one. I just checked.
It was the last one.
Right.
I know that from my source, things are looking very upbeat, but they are at a point now where what happens next is entirely up to the president. They can't predict what he's going to do, but as people dedicated to the chain of command, he is the commander-in-chief. So they have to do his bidding and at his timing. My understanding was, and I think, Bill, you mentioned this earlier tonight. I can't remember if we were recording or not, but the White House is in lockdown. Is that correct?
I don't know about the White House. It's a government holiday on the 23rd for all government employees.
Okay. Well,
24th,
the White House
Christmas Eve.
has been in lockdown since this past weekend. No visitors, no tours, no guests. It's in lockdown. And also, you guys might remember the Dan Scavino Twitter of the Eagle.
Yep.
And it blinks a certain number of times. That was a communication to those in the know. And that was a confirmation that things went from number 5 and they are now in number 6. I don't know the proper word to describe that number 6, but it was an important and welcome and positive communication. That all happened Saturday night. I also know that there have been certain operations that have happened around the globe, not in the U.S., in last Friday or Saturday, and that these high-value targets are being, how shall we say, airlifted to certain secure areas. But as to what the president does next, it is a waiting game, and they do not know what he shall decide. There's lots of paths to victory, and maybe you guys have seen some of the what is it called, the various Twitters and things that get passed around the internet. Some of those are disinfo on purpose. One of the big issues was a hard date that was supposed to be December 18th, which was the date of the D&I report. My understanding was the president already had that report, the preliminary report, and he's waiting for the right time to divulge, because that will have repercussions. And again, the aim is to do this in a way that provides the least amount of damage and loss of life. And this is what is constraining the president. And at the same time, apparently, he is exposing, and Callista, you mentioned this earlier, he's drawing things out in such a way that people that were most entrenched are now being forced to expose themselves. So it's almost like he's cast a fish trap and has allowed, instead of capturing maybe 10 pounds of fish, he's kept the net open much longer than anyone had thought, to the point of the breaking point, to get the most inside that trap in one haul and then pull it up. So it seems like that is what is happening, according to what I've been told. There is the wish that the states, the what do you call them, the contested states, capitulate to the obviousness of the fraud. Because if one state comes clean and says the election is not valid, the others will fall like dominoes. If that fails, then the president has Executive Order 13848, and he'll use it. There's a problem with the Supreme Court, a big one, and that's going to be rectified. Hold on, you guys. I'm going off of memory. Another thing I was told was that 1 year from now, very few, hardly any Democratic-minded voters or people of the population will even want to admit that they ever thought that way. Because what goes down regarding what is discovered and revealed to the public regarding treachery within the Democratic Party among its leaders, its well-known names, and that sort of thing is going to be so bad and so damning that all of the people that you saw on Facebook and social media propping up the Democratic heroes, they're going to be pretty much embarrassed, and they're actually going to be scared for their own well-being, because there's going to be a lot of righteous public anger, not just here, but around the world, but especially here, since people were so divided and vocal. There was a hack recently. I know we haven't talked about it, but it was pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
And a
Yeah,
lot of
go
it,
into that.
a lot of it is dealable. The military reconfigured a long time ago to make anything that was hacked obsolete. But there was one particular part of that hack of packets that they're still, because it's bad, they don't know how much of these particular secrets going to a particular part of national security were actually lifted, and to what degree, and to what degree of usefulness. They don't know how bad it is, but it could be that bad. Hold on. I'm not. Oh, the 10 days. The 10 days of so-called darkness ain't really going to be dark, but it is going to affect communication. And although that is the name that everyone calls it now, the aim is to keep such interruption to a minimum. The training has been to get it all done in one day, but you never really know until you're involved, and it takes as long as it takes. But the training is to get it done lickety-split, and they don't see that as being avoidable at this point. It's just a matter of time. This only affects the U.S. and maybe only regionally. But if and when that does happen, people will have secure messages coming from the government, simple instructions to follow as to what to do to be safe and how to hunker down until the all clear. I don't know if that's going to happen nationally, period, or regionally as conditions warrant. I don't know, but people will be receiving instructions either through their TV, cell phone, or internet. Everything else will be down. And that is all President Trump's call. I've got a bunch
Bill,
more, but I should just wait till until we hit those topics.
Phil,
Yep.
the 10 days, is that anticipated during this Christmas holiday period, or is there still no distinct period that could go down and could happen whenever Trump calls it in, as I understood you saying?
Right. Originally, I had thought it was going to start around the 21st. No hard dates were ever given to me, but inferences were made at the most likely times it would go down. But that was based on certain things happening that didn't go down as planned in the last 10 days. And so the plan, with a capital T and a capital P, the plan, it has built-in abilities to take advantage of multitudes of variables that change at the last moment, both to take advantage of windfalls of information and fortuitous events, and also to mitigate any things that happen that are unforeseen. And so timing has been off, but at this point, apparently, it's all up to the president, and he alone will know the most advantageous time to actually implement certain things. But it is seen as most likely that social media will put a complete ban on Trump's ability to communicate directly with the public. And that will remove TV because it's fake news, and it will remove his Twitter account. And whenever that happens, that's when you know that the storm is upon us. And hopefully that storm won't be more than a day or two, but they've originally called it the 10 days. And there's lots of reasons that the communications go down for 10 days or for however many days, but it's ultimately to protect innocent lives, is my understanding. I also was told that in all of the scenarios that were looked at, there was zero that showed Biden and Harris being president and vice president. All the paths to victory are going to happen through rule of law. Best case scenario are the states doing their recounts and their certifications and realizing there was fraud and announcing it as such, because that will cause a chain reaction. That'll take the Biden below the 270. And if not, we've talked about the other different methods, including the executive order. But after he's inaugurated, and I was told it's when, not if, and this is when you see Durham come on the scene. And it's going to be one after another, after another, after another of arrests, and it won't let up. All the big names, everybody that we've been wondering about all these months and years, they go down. The media will still be an up and running concern, so it's not going to be reported as front page news. Now, foreign news like Sky News in Australia would. Hello?
It sounds like it's gone again.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is happening. Someone's trying to shut me up.
No.
Foreign news will be more prone to announcing these kinds of things, including the big arrests that we're all expecting. But they're taking down the media last, and that's to show the public how much they have been lied to for their whole lives. And like Q said, you can't tell the people. Sometimes you have to show them. And
Well,
that's one of
yeah, it's the Mockingbird program, isn't it? It's the mind control of the Mockingbird program that everyone's been subjected to for decades. It's going to take a while to break that down.
Yeah. Some of the arrests that are coming very soon are going to involve crimes against humanity. I haven't researched yet what crimes against humanity means, but I understand that a lot of those who are being charged with that are the international bankers, because what they've been doing to this planet for I don't know how many hundreds of years is a crime against all humanity, because it's kept us in a debt servitude relationship and a limited state of consciousness where lack is the norm and not abundance, as well as financing both sides of wars. And others that are in the United States, well known, will also be charged with crimes against humanity. But that mainly, most of it, not all, is my understanding, will come after inauguration, because then Trump has nothing to lose. And the Democrats and the rhinos, the Republicans in name only, will be out of ammo. And at that point, my understanding is you're going to see a lot of people unexpectedly resign. And you're going to see Durham actually come to the fore, and he's going to go to town. And it's going to be something that just happens over and over again, and it just doesn't let up. It's going to be a really intense 2021, but it's going to be good, and people are going to feel not like we feel right now. We're going to see things going actually forward.
And it's my understanding too that A.G. Barr has retired so that he can be a witness at the upcoming court hearings.
I haven't heard about that directly myself, but maybe you guys have more information. I know there's lots of speculation about him being a good guy, a bad guy. My understanding is he played his role as requested perfectly.
Yeah. Now, Phil,
that's my understanding.
Sorry, Phil. Now, on the 21st of December, there was a message that appeared on the boards from an anonymous source, and I'll just read a little bit of it out for the sake of the people who are listening, because we have actually touched on this. I think we touched on this yesterday, and we had that quick chat yesterday. But it was, Dear Patriots, some of you may recognize my name. I have daily briefings with POTUS and have posted here before a handful of times as a helper. What I'm about to disclose is the most important post you'll read before the inauguration. Q will not post here again, at least not for a while. The operation is ongoing but must run silent at this point. Once we wind down, you will not hear from Q again. Don't let this worry or upset you. We are in perhaps the most crucial juncture of American history. POTUS is fully aware of the gravity of this time period. We have prepared from before 2015 for this exact moment. I am not asking for faith in us. Q should have already used logic, reason, and multiple proofs to establish our credibility. What happens this week will change history. We are asking you for now to stay in your homes and do not under any circumstances interfere with the operation. You'll soon see things unfold that many would think impossible. POTUS is insulated and 100% safe. Our plan is almost complete. The DS has already lost. Everything you're seeing in the mainstream media and on Twitter is a last-ditch attempt. Why has Kamala not yet left the Senate? Where is Joe? Where is Joe really? Hunter has turned himself in. We asked you at the beginning to prepare. Your role is crucial and your task is to help the population deal with what is about to be revealed. Those patriots who have been here from the start will understand and recognise this directive. Remember, it is always darkest before the dawn. Do not believe the mainstream media over the next week. Do not for a single minute give them any credence. We have legally won this election, and what comes next is the greatest mop-up job in the history of the world. Patriots, we thank you. We could not have gotten here without you. Now is our time. Hold the line. You will receive no further messages on this channel from us until the operation is over. At that point, the entire world will know. Thank you and God bless. Pray for us, POTUS, and the United States of America. We are in the most dangerous phase and the stakes could not be higher. End of message. Now, I reckon that's Dan Scavino. Have you heard anything about that at all, Phil?
Not about what you've just read, but I did read another very similar comm that came across one of the chans that I did forward. And the reply I got was that I could take it as if it had come from the man who sits right next to the president. What I was told was, and it's much briefer than what you had just read, but it was very similar. I don't know if it's the same person. Actually, this is what Bill had sent us. Bill, you sent this to us, and I forwarded it to our friend, and his response was, wise words. You might as well take them as coming from Dan S. SCOTUS with Roberts in charge is pinned. The cabal is pinned. MSM pinned. Dems are pinned. Any move destroys them. We control the when. That is all. You know how military people are. That is all. You're excused. And that was his reply, Bill, to that that message that you had sent us.
That is very, very good to hear.
Yeah. Now, I want to emphasize that he did not say it was Dan Scavino, but he didn't disagree, and that's the important thing. He said they were wise words, and I don't want to read what you sent us. You could do that. It's rather short, but it's pretty powerful what you sent us.
Could I jump in and ask? Could I jump in and ask? Definitely that Bill reads it if you have it to hand, and if not, Bill, you could read it if Bill doesn't have it there.
I don't have it handy, but that was the same thing that Callista was referring to.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually found it. I found it on the boards, and then Bill sent it out as well. So,
Okay.
yeah, I found it on
Oh,
the
okay.
boards. Yeah, before
Okay. I
before
thought it was
before
different.
I got the thing from Bill. No, it's the same thing. I haven't seen anything else, Phil. So probably it's the same thing.
Okay. Yeah. The point is that what's happening is historic. It's going to be intense, but ultimately it's for the good. And I think we got an anon in a high place telling us to just feel reassured about that. And according to my source, he said wise words. So we're we're living in interesting times.
Well, come to think of it, I did get that cue on the telephone, which was after I sent that out. So I don't know if they were related or not.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember you sent us that email telling us about the Q stuff. Yeah, do you want to share that, Bill?
Well,
Because I don't know what you're talking about. So that I'd like to know.
okay. It's happened a few times now. The very first time it happened was I got a cue that just popped up on my computer screen. And the first keystroke I made, it disappeared. And then April got a cue on her phone a little bit later, and that disappeared. Then we got a message maybe a month or so, maybe 2 months later on the TV screen that said, "We are here with you." And then just about 2 days ago, which was after I sent out that message that we're talking about, I got a cue on I was on April's cell phone, and she had a program called up on her phone, which was a geometric design, and it has the capability where you can color it in with different colors. But she called up the design, but before she started coloring, then this cue popped up on top of it. And she was able to take a picture of it and email it to me, and that's what I forwarded. But the most interesting thing was after that happened, she went ahead and she filled in all the colors, and the cue was still there. And after she finished coloring it, then it started having these little starbursts, like mini explosions that were alternating in the different corners and halfway in between the corners, like they liked her coloring.
Wow.
Interesting.
I interpret that as an occasional pat on the back for my efforts.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm.
Wow. So yeah, we're living in interesting times, and there's so much happening, and
Hey,
it's
I could
nice to
add.
know.
I could.
I was
Go
going
for
to
it.
say it's nice to know that everything's coming together. This friend I was talking to in New Mexico today, they've been working behind the scenes, like so many hundreds and thousands of people are working quietly behind the scenes, doing their little bit for everything. And I said to her, I really believe that one day we're all going to see the other side of this, and we'll be able to recognize what everyone has done to contribute to this movement. And we're going to have one great, big, humongous party. And I'm really looking forward to that. I think that'll be really great. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since the good guys have the capability to monitor and track all of this stuff, maybe when it's all over and done with, they'll issue a bunch of certificates.
Yeah, maybe they
So
will.
we'll get a certificate at the end of it all.
Yeah.
Thank you for your participation.
Yeah, like a campaign ribbon. That would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what about now
Well,
we've got to talk about the bill. We've got to talk about this bill. This
and which bill are we talking about?
the one I can't think of the name of it now. Is it the
The stimulus? The new
That's it.
stimulus?
The stimulus
Oh,
bill.
the 5,500 page thing they gave them 3 hours to read or something like that.
Yeah.
But you know,
that.
the main
that's tough.
thing, the main thing that was in that bill, they'd hidden it so that they could prevent. It was some law that was going to go through to prevent the
The
president of the
Insurrection Act.
Yeah, prevent the Insurrection Act. That's what they were trying to do. It's just there's
Well,
no end to it.
No. They use this tactic quite a lot. Formulate these huge bills. This is one of the bigger ones I've heard of, and hide stuff in it, and then nobody really bothers reading it. So they pass this into law, and suddenly, the president isn't allowed to bring in the Insurrection Act. Although they knew, Trump and people knew that they were going to try something like this, and I'm sure they went. They have a group of people who sped, what's that when you read really fast? Speed readers go through it all and found it. And there's probably other things in there too as well. This is the thing they brought out.
I did see a list of some of the things that were on there. It was just ridiculous. There was heaps of money going to various art galleries or centres and like the Kennedy Art Centre or something or other.
Millions of dollars.
The Art Centre, yes.
Smithsonian. What does the Smithsonian need money for? You can't even go there at the moment anyway. And
that's right.
Because everything's locked down, and they were sending, the money for a gender program in Pakistan. I mean, it was just ridiculous, and it wasn't just like hundreds of thousands. Pardon?
Don't forget Burma. They gave Burma extra amount too, millions of dollars to Burma.
Yeah,
well,
and also
that's
Ethiopia.
That's just cover for money going into somebody's pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. Meanwhile, the people are only getting what, $600 as some kind of bonus payment or something.
No. Trump said no. That's just ridiculous. He's giving everyone $2,000 each. So if you're a couple, you get $4,000. And I think it's about time the people of America had a stimulus package. We've had them here in Australia. I think we've had more money than you guys in America have had, and you're more affected than we are in a sense. So, So
well, a lot of people don't realize that.
Go on, Phil.
Oh, a lot of people don't realize that the backroom negotiations were really about giving Trump what he wants for the people, but about 3 or 4 times that amount was actually earmarked to pay off the state governments of the Democratic states to keep them in power. And Trump said, no, I'm not going to do that. And that's why you saw it get whittled down from 4 trillion to 2 trillion to, what is it, 900 billion, something like that. And latest is, I think he's going to veto it because it is now very apparent that a large part of that amount is not going into the hands of Americans. It's going to all these entities that aren't even alive, that don't need food and rent paid. It's not for the American people. It's pork, as we call it here in this country. So I think he's going to veto it unless the Democrats give every American $2,000, which really is nothing. A lot of people are much more affected than $2,000 US. Maybe what he'll do is he'll add a few zeros to it, and tomorrow night he'll say, I'm giving back the stolen wealth to the people of the United States. Here you go. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, and I thought it was sorry. I thought it was interesting that Donald Trump tweeted, and this is what he said: I hope we will never find life on other planets because there's no doubt that the US government will start sending them money.
That's right. Especially if they declare themselves as a poor ET cousin to whoever, whatever. We need the money. Yeah. Well, there you go. Anything
Yeah,
else about the bill that there's discussion? And I have heard he's vetoed. Has he already vetoed it, or is he about to veto this bill?
I understand that he has vetoed it,
Okay, good one.
but I could be wrong there. I don't know.
Well, what I
I
heard on
don't
that
know.
was that it falls into a special category that there is a final day coming for the session of Congress. I've forgotten what that is. I think it's in January. But the timing is such, he has a certain amount of time that he can act on that. And the end of the congressional session is before the expiration of that time. And it's what's called a pocket veto. Instead of actually vetoing it, he can just pocket it and let the time run out, and it's no more.
Oh, that I can understand, because my next question was going to be, as I heard it, that even though he vetoed it, if it goes back to the House of Congress, that, or House of Representatives rather, that they would vote it, that they pass it. But if he pockets it and he holds it back, so they can't vote on it. Well, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it is called a pocket veto, and it has been done at rare intervals in the past, and it needs to be in a certain time bracket, or else it's not possible. But in this case, it is possible in this time bracket.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to know. Excellent.
That may be the
Okay,
least of
Bill,
our concerns by the time we get
it
through the
might be.
next week or so.
I kind of want to jump off on a bit of a sidetrack. Here in Canada, we're pretty darn locked down, especially over Christmas. All the restaurants here in Alberta are basically closed. You can order, you can they'll deliver, you can pick up. That kind of thing is happening. Only one person to visit. Like I went over to my sister's today. That's allowed because it's one person. I'm on my own, so they can see me or something. And yesterday they said, "Oh, now you can have two people." And anyway, it's pretty locked down already. And yet now we hear from the UK, Boris Johnson making his big announcements of this new strain. What do you think of the new strain of the COVID virus 19? Any thoughts on this new strain? Because now they're already trying to say, oh my God, it's even a super spreader to the one that went before, and that one was rolled out just in time for the alleged second wave, and now they've got a new wave of the new strain of the new virus. Anyway, it goes on.
That's more Bravo Sierra.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think
Yeah.
about it anymore, and I think anything that's going on in the UK is very suspect anyway when it comes to that.
Mm.
You know, it seems that Boris Johnson is totally controlled by the deep state, and it's going to be
Oh,
very
he's
difficult
really.
for the United Kingdom to get out of that mess. And on top of that, they've
Yeah.
got all the royals and all that mess as well, you know, so it's going to be very difficult for them to pull out of that. But no, I just think that the whole COVID thing, well, yeah, viruses mutate. That's what they do. It's part of their, you know, their protection mechanism. They mutate. That's what they do. I mean, it's as if no one really knows what a virus is really all about or whatever. But I just want to say that Phil's going to have to go soon. So I'm just thinking, do we want to wind up now, or do we want to carry on a little bit longer? Because if Phil's going and we're staying, he wants to say goodbye to everybody before he goes. So what do you guys want to do?
Well, I don't know. We can carry on a little bit longer, but I think we're almost done anyway.
Yeah, I'm done.
Me too.
So let's call it a night then. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that way,
Okay.
Phil, you can.
I don't want to tell you what the conditions are in Texas because we don't need anybody else moving here. We already got too many Californians moving here.
Thanks, Bill.
Right. I do hear there is a petition against Gavin Nunes of over 1,000 have signed for his recall. Any thoughts on that or any information? Newsom, sorry, yeah. Gruesome Newsom. Bill, any thoughts on that or any information you have about that quickly before we call it a night?
Sure. My understanding is they'll get the required signatures, and the unpopularity of Newsom, regardless of your political party affiliation, is pretty universal. So they're already halfway there, and they've had to get the signatures many times because they keep just not getting delivered. So they're getting smarter and smarter about it each time. I'm sure there's going to be a recall. But even if there's not, I know the White Hats have something very, very special planned for Governor Gruesome. I don't know when and what it will be, but they're well aware. And we all know that Q has said for quite some time, watch California. And that's the latest I have on that. Other than that, I just wanted to wish you guys all a very Merry Christmas. I think we're on the new side, the active side of infinity after December 21st, and I'm holding for the highest and best for this nation, this world, humanity, and the planet. So I wanted to wish all of you and anyone who's listening a very Merry Christmas. And I think we might have a chat before the new year, so I'll hold off on the New Year's wishes, but I do have to go here in a second, and if you guys want to carry on, that's fine. But I didn't want to leave without giving you Christmas blessings.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. That's great. And we won't hold you up any longer if you want to go now. We're going to go anyway. And so, yeah, I also would like to wish everybody a really happy, safe, and peaceful Christmas, and to just hold the line and know that everything is working out completely as it should be, and we don't have to worry about anything. I know it's easy for me to say that where I am in my little sanctuary, but we're all in the right place at the right time, and just stay centered and focused and relax and enjoy the show.
Right.
And everybody get some popcorn.
Yeah, exactly, Bill. Your popcorn and your favorite drink of whatever nature. And I just want to also point out and say, you know, folks, this is the most amazing of times, not just with the events that are occurring in the States, in Canada, around the world, Australia, everywhere. This is also a time of great energetic events that are taking place. The conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter, moving now to Aquarius, the energies of the solstice that happened the other day as well. All of this is creating a new environment that we are just entering. And that new environment is a place of great hope, great wonder, great joy, and great happiness and more. So I wish everyone all of that and more. Remember, you're a creator being. We're all creator beings. So let's create that wondrous new world that we've all been waiting for, that is just there over the horizon. And we're coming to it fast and furious. So Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a great holiday season with family and friends.
And adding to what Will said, this period immediately in front of us is far, far beyond just being political. It is a pivotal point in the shift of consciousness, and it is important.
Oh, absolutely. So I also want to wish you guys all the best. You, Callista, Bill, if you're still with us. All the
I'm
best
here
for the holidays. Oh, good.
Yeah. To everybody. It's time for everybody. to just have a very merry, real Christmas, because as we mentioned earlier, it's the most un-Christmas-like Christmas season any of us have ever had, but we can make it all possible in our hearts, and we can still make a true Christmas out of what we wish to manifest. So that's a good thing, because we are creator beings. And again, Merry Christmas to everybody, and it was another good chat. I'll see you guys next week.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you everyone who's listening to our little broadcast today. And yes, we'll catch up with you on the other side of Christmas next week. Okay, bye-bye for now.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Fröhliche Weihnachten zu alle.
Jawohl.
Ein guter Rutsch im neues Jahr. Merry Christmas, everyone.